Let's talk about social exhaustion. We're going to dive deep into the psychology of why spending time with people, even people you absolutely love, can sometimes leave you feeling completely and totally drained. Let's get right into it. You know that feeling, right? You walk through your front door after a party or a get-together, you lean against it, and you just feel spent. Not just tired, but like your brain itself has just run a marathon. If the idea of needing a whole day to recover from just a few hours of conversation sounds familiar, then you are in exactly the right place. It's so easy to just slap a label on it and say, oh, I'm just an introvert. But honestly, that's just scratching the surface. There is a fascinating scientific reason behind that feeling, and I think understanding it can completely change how you see yourself. Okay, first things first, we have got to clear up one of the biggest mix-ups out there in psychology. Nailing this distinction is absolutely crucial for understanding everything else we're going to talk about. So the key difference boils down to one thing. Introversion is all about energy. Think of it like a phone battery. Social interactions use up your battery, and you need solitude to recharge. Social anxiety, on the other hand, is all about fear, specifically the fear of being judged or rejected. An introvert chooses a quiet night in because it feels peaceful and restorative. But someone with social anxiety might avoid a night out because the very thought of it just feels heavy and stressful. Here's a really simple but powerful little test from Psych2Go. Just think about it for a second. When plans get canceled, is your first feeling a sense of peaceful calm, or is it this huge wave of relief, but it's mixed with a little bit of guilt or shame? That feeling right there is the key. Preference feels calm, fear feels heavy. All right, now we get to the really cool part, the neurology. This isn't about your personality having some kind of problem. This is literally about how your brain is built. It's about your wiring. This all comes down to a concept called dopamine sensitivity. Now, you've probably heard of dopamine. It's often called the reward chemical. Well, it turns out some brains just don't need a lot of external chaos, loud music, big crowds, to get that satisfying dopamine hit. For them, a quiet conversation or just reading a good book is more than enough to feel good. So you can kind of picture it like this. An extroverted brain often has less sensitive dopamine receptors, so it needs a high level of stimulation to feel energized and rewarded. But a more introverted or sensitive brain, it needs a much, much lower level of stimulation to hit that sweet spot. Any more than that, and it just gets overwhelming instead of rewarding. And this is why that exhaustion kicks in. For a brain that's easily overwhelmed, a loud, busy social event isn't just a fun time. It's a massive, incoming flood of data that your brain is desperately trying to process all at once. I absolutely love this analogy from Brain Shift because it's so relatable. Imagine you have all these tabs open. You've got faces, voices, micro-expressions, social rules, and your brain's processor is just running on overdrive. You're not being antisocial, you're just overheated. And just think for a second what those browser tabs actually are. For a highly perceptive mind, a noisy room isn't just background noise. It's hundreds of individual data points that your brain is trying to analyze at the same time. The clinking of a fork, a conversation 3 tables away, the low hum of the lights. That is some profoundly exhausting work. So that leads us perfectly into the next piece of this puzzle, the invisible work that your brain is doing behind the scenes during every single social interaction. There's actually a scientific term for this mental heavy lifting. It's called cognitive load. A good way to think of it is like a weight. Every conversation you have, every social cue you have to read, it adds more weight to the bar. And if your brain is wired for deep processing, that cognitive load gets heavy really, really fast. So where does all this load come from? Well, it comes from a process that's always running in the background called social monitoring. You're not just listening to one person. You're tracking multiple conversations, you're analyzing these subtle shifts in tone and body language, and all the while you're calculating your own response in real time. That's not just a conversation. That is high-level data processing. And here's the wild part. Even after you've escaped the party, you're finally home, you're alone, your brain's job still isn't over. The processing just keeps on going. It's something called post-event processing. Your mind replays conversations, and it's not doing this to beat you up or make you feel awkward. It's actually trying to learn. It's looking for social patterns and trying to figure out how to navigate them even better next time. It's really a sign of high emotional intelligence, but man, it definitely uses up that last bit of mental energy. And this right here is why small talk can feel absolutely brutal. Your brain is wired for depth. This quote explains it perfectly.
Small talk is like running on a treadmill. It requires constant effort and response, but it doesn't give you that meaningful substance that your deep processing mind is craving, so your energy just plummets.
Okay, so we've looked at the psychology, the neurology, and the cognitive workload. Now, let's pull all of this together and give this entire experience a powerful and I think much needed reframe.
For anyone who has ever felt broken or weird or awkward because you need to retreat after socializing, I really, really need you to hear this. It is not a flaw. It's a feature. It's a feature of your unique neurological design. It's just a sign that your brain operates in a very specific and actually very powerful way. So instead of thinking of yourself as antisocial or shy, I want you to try on a new label for a bit. A deep mind. It's a mind that doesn't just skim the surface of the world. It engages with everything on a more complex, more detailed, and way more intense level.
And this is maybe the most important takeaway of all. When you feel that pull to be alone, to recharge, your brain isn't rejecting people. It's protecting its own capacity to function. It is a biological need for regulation, and listening to that need is a sign of emotional maturity, not a weakness.
So let's end with this incredible reframe. The next time you feel that wave of exhaustion wash over you, don't see it as something wrong with you. See it as the price of admission you pay for having a mind that experiences the world in brilliant, vivid, high definition.
And that leaves us with one final and really crucial thought for you. Now that you understand that your brain works this way not by fault but by design, how can you start to build a life that actually honors it? How can you protect that incredible energy so you can spend it on the people and the things that truly, truly feed your soul?